Today we are sharing 8 future scenes from The Chosen that we would really like to see.
So you all know how much we love The Chosen here. We were extras in the feeding of the 5,000, and recently we watched season 5 in theaters.
And also recently, one of you all asked us if we would talk about The Chosen on our channel. And since it's been a while since we did that, here we are.
Now, of course, we do want to say that we love The Chosen, but we love it for what it is, a TV show about Jesus. It is not the literal catechism brought to life.
But it is awesome in so many ways. I like to use it in the classroom. For some of my students, seeing Jesus brought to life on the screen like this has been a game changer for them in so many ways. And for that, I will forever be grateful.
Now, if you haven't seen season 5, then no worries, we're not going to spoil anything today. But there was one scene from season 5 that was so moving and so unique that it inspired this video.
Yeah, it was so cool, and a few tears were shed, and it did get us thinking, if they can do this awesome thing, what other awesome things might they do? And so we created our wish list, which is just a wish list, of course, because we don't know what they have in store for us.
So the first scene we would love to see is a conversation between one of the apostles. We have an idea of who. We don't want to say it because it could be considered a spoiler, but one of the apostles and Barabbas.
Right, so to say Barabbas, that's not a spoiler because you already know that he's going to show up at some point. However, one of the apostles and Barabbas are going to need to have a conversation at some point in the future, and we would love to hear what they have to say.
So number 2, we know that when Jesus died on the cross, darkness came over the land, there was an earthquake, and many of the graves were open, and a lot of the dead were seen up and walking around in Jerusalem.
So the second future scene that we would like to see, okay, just go with us here. It might be a little bit creepy, but what if one of the dead people who was raised and was seen alive walking around, what if one of them was Rama?
Which I don't know where she came up with this.
It could be.
But it's a little creepy.
It is a little creepy. I mean, what effect would that have on Thomas? I don't know. It's just worth investigating.
It would be interesting.
It would be really cool. Right,
strange.
Okay.
But number 3, we also know that when Jesus died, the veil in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the gates of heaven were opened.
So we think it would be really cool if we could literally see the gates being open. Of course, Jesus would be there, but what about this? What if John the Baptist was opening one side of the gate and Joseph was opening the other? Would that not be so cool?
Now, we don't think it's really likely that The Chosen will do it like that or portray this in a scene, but it'd be so cool if they actually did, and it would be a great way to bring some of our favorite characters into a future season.
Now, we are always up for more John the Baptist and St. Joseph.
So number 4 is a scene that we think a lot of people are waiting for, and that we think The Chosen is pretty much going to do, and that is the meeting between Jesus and Mary Magdalene outside of the tomb on Easter morning. And we know from the Bible that she didn't recognize him at first for whatever reason, maybe because it was dark.
So we would love it if this scene could be sort of a remake of season 1 when Jesus and Mary meet outside the hammer. She doesn't really know who he is, and she turns and walks away, and then he calls her by name, Mary of Magdala.
So I think it would be really, really cool if this scene and that scene from season 1 paralleled each other. It would be incredibly moving. To The Chosen, if you're listening, please do this.
Please do it that way. Gosh, it makes me just tear up just thinking about it. Future scene number 5. We would really love to see this one, but it is not very noble, but we are just human. And that is, we would love to see the risen Jesus appearing to Rama's father, Kaphne.
Kaphne has not been easy to like throughout all of the seasons, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. But we think it'd be very interesting to see the moment that Kaphne realizes Jesus is not dead.
Of course, Jesus, being all love and mercy, is going to be very kind and understanding with Kaphne, but we would still like to see it, and we would love to hear what they have to say.
So scene number 6 harkens back to a scene in season 3 when Simon and Andrew are out fishing on their boat, and they look to the shore and they see the Roman soldiers coming to arrest Jesus and take him into custody for Quintus.
So as you recall, Andrew goes a little bonkers in that scene. So we think it would be so much fun to have that scene recreated when they go out fishing after the resurrection and they realize that Jesus is on the shore cooking breakfast.
Now, in the Gospel of John, Andrew is not specifically mentioned by name as being on the boat, but there are 2 other disciples there, so it's completely plausible that he was one of them.
And we just think it would be so fun to see Andrew having a happy freak out for once instead of a panic attack. I mean, we could just picture that in our minds.
Number 7 is a scene that's not in the Bible, but we think is entirely plausible, and that is a post-resurrection scene between Jesus and Rabbi Yusuf.
So I think at this point, most of us can agree that Rabbi Yusuf is most likely Joseph of Arimathea. So it would just be interesting if they could have a post-resurrection scene together. Maybe something like Jesus thanking Joseph for letting him use his tomb.
And Rabbi Yusuf has been there for Jesus through all of these ups and downs, so we think it'd be very touching if they got to have a little scene together.
He has hung in there for Jesus, so we think that the chosen writers could do something really funny or touching, creative with this, and we would love to see it.
So last, number 8, is we would love to see the reunion scene between Jesus and his mother Mary.
So we know from the Bible that Mary Magdalene was the first recorded person to see the risen Christ. However, there is a long-standing Catholic tradition that Jesus appeared first to his mother. Now, we can't prove it, but we have always hoped this is true. After all she went through, she better have seen him first. He better have stopped off by her house first.
And she was not with the women that went to the tomb on Easter morning. And maybe that's because she already knew he wasn't going to be there.
Right, because if she for a minute thought that he was still in that tomb, she would have been leading the pack to go take care of her boy. However, if she already knew he wasn't there, maybe she just stayed home.
So we would love to see a joyful reunion scene similar to what we saw in season 1 when they were reunited at the wedding feast at Cana. Only this would be just 100 times more joyful and amazing.
Okay, so those are 8 future scenes that we would really like to see, but now it's your turn. Let us know in the comments what future scenes you would like.
So we hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.